There are three types of content. Content type number one is content that is designed to attract an audience. Content type number two, content that is designed to nurture an audience. And then there's content type number three, which is content that's designed to convert an audience. You do things in different places, you do that stuff, you do it in different mediums, and all that stuff. But what I'm specifically going to talk about is the difference between getting 14,000 followers and over 100K views in a week and getting, you know, 9 to 149 views a video, basically. So this is Joseph Lombardi. He's one of my clients. He's one of my clients for ads, but when we first met, he wanted some organic content, basically. And I was new to your industry at the time, so I didn't quite know which one worked and which one didn't. So I was just kind of figuring it out. But in September 2023, when I made the stuff and posted it, this is before I switched to ads, and then he found a different company that I guess now that I'm actually paying attention to it isn't actually doing, you know, I'll talk to them about it later. But the point is, did have 1,400 and something followers in by the time October ended. From September to October is when I did this, and I'm going to be talking about two types of content in this video. The first type of content is content that is designed to attract an audience, and the second one is content that is designed to nurture an audience. Now, the second one is very, very, very simple. It's just podcast clips, right? You just take a piece of content. There's a million AI tools that do this for you. You don't need to hire a video editor for you. In fact, to hire a video editor to make podcast clips for you, let's see which one did like decently. But the point is, it's like it's posting 3 times a day, for a couple months. Got this account to just shy of 200,000 views, 1,400 followers. But mainly it came from this video right here, which is the second video I posted day two of growing this account, basically. And the idea with content type number one is you just want to make something worth watching. Now I'm going to be perfectly clear. Instagram has filters that makes it so that when you're using screen recording software, you can't record the audio. It's going to take me a little bit because I sort of make these videos and then do the stuff on the back end later. Like I'll record the video and then I'll edit the video and make the thumbnail and all that stuff after the fact. But you know, but basically, I'll just splice in the actual video so that you know what the video actually is. Because now I'm gonna talk about it when I cut back. So yeah.
Crazy finance fact they didn't teach you in school, Part 1. When the United States declared bankruptcy in 1933, a law was passed called H.J.R. 192. It made all Americans collateral or debt slaves to the national debt. It also made it illegal to use gold and silver coins to pay your debt. The United States also assumed legal responsibility for providing a new way for you to pay. In 1933, the United States government declared that they would pay all of your debts with the money they received from your labor, birth certificate, and Social Security registered number. Isn't that
And the point of that video is literally just watch time. That's literally the entire point of it. That video that you just saw, I think when I was doing it a couple years ago, uh, a couple years ago now. Well, a year and a half-ish, year and 9 months, give or take. But when I was doing it, I knew that I wanted to attract an audience by getting maximum watch time and then having people naturally follow. Right from there, I'd use podcast clips to nurture the account. So every couple of days, so basically, like every couple of days, I would post, I would post every day, a couple times a day. Then I would post. I think I alternated between posting twice a day and 3 times a day. But basically, the point is you get followers, and that's how you monetize it later. I'll have a separate video on how to monetize an audience that you establish, right? But the idea is attract an audience and nurture the audience. And you don't want to do any monetization for several months. And the idea is you just want to build rapport, and more importantly, you want to grow and grow and grow and grow. Basically, that's why if you're trying to grow an account to try to get followers or just trying to like establish, a presence in the public square, which is the internet and social media, from there, you can just post on your story, right? If I posted a story on Ironhawk Financial right now and I put a lead magnet at the end of it, he, 10% of of his audience would see it. So about, 100, ish people would see the story. Then you would get, Joseph right now would be able to pawn stuff off to his downline and the downline would be able to make 5 sales of that really, really easily. But that's why you want to grow. That's why you want to grow the account because you want to be able to you want to be able to turn content and where that content is located as an inbound source of leads for your company, basically. So if you monetize it immediately, yeah, sure, you'll get like one or two policies, here or there. But wouldn't it be great to just get, 1 to 2 policies like every like hour or like 5 hours? That's basically the point. So if you're willing to kind of take, to kind of like not immediately monetize, you can really, really grow. You really, really grow an account if you don't have like a oh buy my product at the end of every video, right? Unless you're doing like UGC for ecom and all that stuff, but that's a different thing. That is definitely not what this video is about. And I don't do that shit anymore. God, that was annoying. But basically, podcast clips nurture the audience. You used to, especially before a lot of these AI tools came about, like podcast clips used to be $15 a clip, if on the low end, mind you. And now you have AI software out there for like $10 a month, $20 a month. You could basically have unlimited podcast clips, and it'll even tell you how likely that podcast clip is to get more views than others. Basically, like it's it's really, really great. But the characteristics, right? The characteristics of this video is basically I'm trying to cultivate a particular style. The first week to the first like 5 months, well, maybe 5 months is a little excessive, but you get the point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to I'm trying to find a particular style, basically. So like their Ironhawk Financial has certain brand colors and all that stuff. Just trying to follow that with the captions to try to get some views or whatever. And it's like, okay, it did pretty well, got some stuff, got some followers to monetize later. Perfect. Exactly what we were looking for. Until I started doing ads, basically. And that I ended up liking a lot more because you can immediately monetize it, and that's the point. And you don't have to worry you know, uh, if an ad fails because if let's say you get $3 for every dollar that you get in ad spend. Okay, cool. Right? That's I consider that a failure personally. So if that's the case, then you use your 3x return on your ad spend to make an ad that does a 7x, 11x, or a 20x return. Basically, that's the gist of it. And so then when I tried part two, I tried to modify the template a little bit. I tried to make things less policy driven and more story driven. And I thought maybe if I used you know like it's basically I talked about like Jekyll Island and like a bunch of like really, really intense like certain financial stuff. I also tried, what if I modified the description a little bit? What, basically, things like that. Like just like throwing things out there to like, to test things. Right? It's exactly what I did to grow certain e-com stores back in the day, but difference is you want every single video to monetize because, if your profit margins are 14 is anyway, I don't work with a lot of e-com stores anymore for that reason, but it's the same general premise, trying to establish an audience, right? And then I nurture that audience with these podcast clips. Basically, this video attracts the people to get people to follow, and then these clips get my engaged followers to watch, to watch more of my content, to get to know me a little bit more, personally. This particular video was him giving some dude like a presentation or whatever on like how shit works, and he's like, make something out of this, and I'm like, Sure. So I just ran it through. So I just ran it through an AI tool, and I quote unquote like made something of it. But mainly though, I prefer making videos like this. So like, okay, number two was a failure because I was being too vague. What if I did this instead? Right? And I tried different, and I tried modifying the color array, right? And I made it more policy driven, but I still try to keep the story driven part of it. It's like maybe if I did it this way, but no, that's not what it ended up. That's not what ended up happening, right? So then I tried, okay, no story, just policy, right? Specific year, like the other one mentioned, right? Economic turmoil, executive order, right? Instead of a bill, it's like okay, maybe executive order isn't the way to do it. So just point is, it's like I found something that kind of worked, but I wanted like 100K views a video. I wanted to find that template. So now, if I were to take over this account again, which I really not because I'm more focused on his ads, then from there I would go back to first principles. Basically, I go back to this video and everything that made this video can do as well as it did. That's the point of it. And then got some other stuff, right? Podcast clips started doing better and things like that. Then right around October, right, October 30th, end of October, a different company took over because I took over Joseph's ads instead. Basically, that's what happened. And so we can kind of see this, like I had personal brands, whereas this other company had corporate branding. If you do any kind of hyper corporate bourgeois nonsense, it's not gonna come, very clear on, you know, it's not gonna come very clear on social media. Like we went from like worst view count being, 100 views, like this podcast clip right here got 16,000 views, you know, to then like, and to be fair, there's a lot of reposting. Like now we're getting like 57 views a video, 24, right? Nine like you saw earlier, and then a steady decrease in followers. That's because this company took a personal brand that I had cultivated, granted in like a month and a half, right, and turned it into a corporate brand, which people don't really like anymore. Even older people don't really like corporate brands anymore, and people especially don't like corporate brands on social media. Now, the second type of content I want to talk about is content that's designed to nurture your audience, which by the way can still get stuff that insanely outclasses your subscriber count anyway. Because at the end of the day, when you make videos to gather an audience, making videos to nurture an audience has the exact same set of principles attached to it. Because what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to keep the audience that you've cultivated engaged. And a follower and a non-follower have more or less the same psychology. Basically, like they're still human, right? Things to maximize watch time, providing value to your audience and stuff like that. Those things still apply. But that being said, with content designed to nurture an audience, that stuff is more principled, right? I think this video took me like, yeah, it's only like 30-40 seconds long or whatever. I don't remember. But like it took me about an hour and a half to script, and then it also took me, I want to say, 4 hours the to edit the video, basically. So like that's sort of things you have to worry about. But with like content that's designed to nurture the audience, they've opted into like, because they want to watch you talk about your thing and all that stuff. So from there, you can be a little bit more lax with it. This can be like fireside chats or whatever if you're doing live streams. This could be just like, oh, helpful like tips and stuff like that. And the key thing is with those, especially when you're just starting, you do not want to spend more than an hour, especially on a podcast clip, right? You really don't want to. The other thing too, um, if you're recording podcast clips, to make the editing easier on yourself, Don't have any like promotional material anywhere in the frame of the raw footage because then you basically get shit like this on the bottom, basically. And if I'm trying to make personal, content and stuff like that, I don't want I don't want a shade written of buy my product and service at the bottom if I'm trying to build a personal brand. But that's neither here nor there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the description. I'll have a part two to this video when I get around to it. It'll either be an article format on my website or it'll be its own dedicated video. I haven't fully decided which one to do quite yet, but yeah, subscribe for more and all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.